Hello, and welcome to another episode of Morgan's Pop Talks, breaking down the latest in reality TV and pop culture. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping. I hear my husband down there clanking around pots and pans. That's when you know it's a good day. All the windows open, the breeze is flowing. I got this little under eye balm that's supposed to brighten and tighten. It's feeling tingly right about now. So if my eyes start twitching, nothing's wrong. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm just getting used to some new skincare. Tonight's the night. I'm going to Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras. Can I be honest with you? Can I really be honest with you? I'm excited to go. Might be an unpopular opinion, might get some backlash, but I'm excited to go. I woke up this morning a little brighter eyed, a little more bushy of a tail. It really, when it all boils down to it, has nothing to do with seeing Tom Sandoval. This is my first time. I want to say this is my first time as an adult, okay, that I'm going out on a school night, baby. We're ready. We are revving the engines. We're going out on a school night. I cannot tell you. I mean, truly, the last time I went out on a weeknight was when I still lived with my parents, which was when I didn't have a full-time job, which was 6 years ago. Because for the past 6 years, I've had to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. There's no way I could ever enjoy the evening. But tonight it's going down. Me and David, we're going to get tacos. And then we're going to see Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras. Of course, I'm going to report back to you. I mean, if you're listening to this on Thursday, you already know that I went. I'm obviously going to post stuff on social media, so hopefully you've been keeping up. If not, it's never too late. Here's a little housekeeping. The top of the show rant. Next week, your girl's going on vacation. Full family vacation. We're going down to Florida. We're going. Me, Dave, mom, dad, sister, brother-in-law, 2 little nieces. You know what? The older I get, the more I love these family trips. My family, I don't want to say we just recently started doing them, but I would say in the past, like post-COVID, that's how we gauge life. I don't know about you. That's how I gauge life pre-COVID, post-COVID. And we're going. So that does not mean, however, that there will be no MPT episode because I have something really exciting planned for you next week. It's something a little different. It's something that I've been working on since being a full-time independent girly, full-time content creator, and I'm really excited for it. I'm nervous. I'll tell you that much because I don't know if anybody's going to give a hoot about what I'm doing, but you know what? I'm putting myself out there, letting the freak flag fly. I mean, I don't know why I said that. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing crazy, but it's fun. And it's just going to be a little different. And it's like a little side project that I'm going to start doing periodically here on MPT. So I'm super excited for it. So let's get into the pop 3. These are the 3 biggest headlines in reality TV and pop culture. Vanderpump Rules is being put on pause. What does it mean? What does it mean? A Bravo fan cannot hear the words put on pause without immediately thinking that the ship is going down. It's the Titanic. You better hold on. You better hold on because the ship is sinking. The last time we heard that something was on pause, it was our Real Housewives of New York, and they never came back, at least in the manner with which we once knew them. Dorinda Medley put on pause. You know, all these people put on pause. So what does it mean for Vanderpump Rules? Now, according to sources, it's not canceled, but a source told Page 6, everyone needs a moment to decompress after 2 very rough, intense seasons. The cast is looking forward to a break from filming the show. There's a lot of things going on here. I think first and foremost, fan reaction to this season has been kind of all over the place. You know, it has been a slow burn, as Katie Maloney once said, where the beginning of the season was really hard to get through. In my opinion, the end of the season is better. And I can't believe next week is the season finale. Wow. Shocking. But also at the same time, I think they are reaping what they sowed when it comes to how quickly they picked cameras back up, because the way things are filmed and how long it takes a show to get put together, and then, you know, you got to do the press beforehand and then all the things, it takes like a good year to put a season together. And I feel like Bravo has been a little obsessed with picking the cameras back up, picking the cameras back up, picking the cameras back up. You know, it's like that's the new thing. It's like you're either put on pause or they're picking the cameras back up. And I feel like the thought process behind that was good initially, talking about this past season, season 10, where there's so much going on. And it was the biggest show in the world, right? The biggest show on TV. And you want to catch all the fallout and all the aftermath. But in that moment, you don't necessarily think that the audience is going to see this a year later. How are they going to feel a year later? And we're just dealing with that right now. So I'm not entirely upset that they're taking a little beat to recoup, but I also think it's naive to think that this has nothing to do with The Valley. The Valley, which is a Vanderpump Rules spinoff. Lisa Vanderpump is an executive producer. It is a Vanderpump Rules spinoff. The Valley is doing really well, and it's really organic and it's really authentic. At least it feels that way, a lot more so than Vanderpump Rules. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. The Valley season 1, these people have nothing to lose, make or break. They're not 10 years into a season like the cast of Vanderpump Rules, or 10 years into a show like Vanderpump Rules, who are kind of like on autopilot, I feel, trying to do what they think makes good TV instead of just being like real and honest. But there's a lot of crossover between the two. You know, Sheena's mentioned a lot in The Valley and Jax is mentioned in Vanderpump Rules. So I feel like they're probably going to start filming The Valley first because Jesse and Michelle have since split. Brittany and Jax have since split. And maybe they just want to prioritize capturing that. I mean, I don't know. They could be different production companies, although the shows look identical. So I just don't know off the top of my head if they're the same production company, but they seem the same. But you know what? It's okay. The pause is okay. Ariana's filming Love Island USA. I truly believe that they're not canceling Vanderpump Rules. So for now, we can take a breath. Let's move on to headline number 2. There have been a lot of rumors about Dorit Kemsley potentially being demoted on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because the axe is swinging in Beverly Hills. Crystal and Marie, there's rumors of Kyle, there's rumors of Dorit. There's all these like threats, these threat leaks going around. If you don't tell the truth about Morgan, Kyle, and now Dorit, if you don't come clean about the status of your relationship with your husband, PK, who allegedly, reportedly, is living in the Beverly Hills hotel, you will be demoted to the Real House, to Friend of, for season 14. So this is according to the Daily Mail. It says things are so bad he has moved out of their Los Angeles home and is staying in the famed Beverly Hills hotel alone. If she doesn't open up about their marital issues, she'll be cut down to only 3 episodes next season and labeled a friend of, not a full-time cast member. 3 episodes? To me, that's not a friend of demotion. That's an erasure. That is an erasure. I don't know what to think about this because I just don't trust the Daily Mail as a source based on how many advertisements are on their website. I don't know if you've ever actually looked at the Daily Mail website. It's horrific to the eyeballs. It like incinerates my corneas. It's so ugly on there. So I just don't necessarily view them as like the most reputable source. I could be really off in that assessment as well. But I also read something that said production doesn't give talent threats, right? Like Kyle, we are going to literally kick you out of your house if you don't start talking about Mauricio, or Dorit, we are going to isolate you in Buca de Beppo if you don't start talking about your husband. Like, I don't think that they operate like that. That's what the source said anyways. But just imagine a world without Kyle and Dorit. I mean, you have Sutton, you have Erica Jane, you have Garcelle. But I think in reading this, I had one overwhelming thought, and y'all aren't going to like it. I don't even like it. We got to give Erica Jane credit where credit is due, honey, because we may not have liked all of her answers, but she answered them. She didn't hide from it. I mean, we might not have liked the way that she reacted or treated people when all this stuff first happened with Tom, but talk about somebody riding the storm. Erica Jane, she rode that storm. and she like made it out. I mean, I know she's not on the other side of it because there's still a lot of legal stuff going on there. But when it comes to fan backlash, the noise isn't as loud, right, as it once was. So I don't think Kyle or Dorit will actually be fired or demoted or anything like that. I mean, honestly, I go so back and forth with Dorit because she's just a character. But honestly, her delivering the line was like my favorite part of the season. If that says anything about the last season of Beverly Hills, wow. I don't know. Okay, headline number 3, we're going to switch gears to some Bachelor Nation news. TikTok star Kat Stickler and The Bachelorette's Jason Tartick are officially an item, PDA all over the place, and Jason has met her daughter. So we talked about this on last week's Bachelor Patreon, but Jason Tartick and Kat Stickler are an item. And now a source is spilling to Us Weekly that the two were full on PDA at Stagecoach, that they were holding hands and like kissing and being lovey-dovey. An eyewitness told Us Weekly that they looked really cute and he was protecting her in the crowd and they were kissing and whatever. So now he has also met her daughter, who goes by MK. He was photographed dining with them on Monday night. She was also on his podcast, Trading Secrets, and they were flirting with a hard T, flirting. People have been comparing Kat Stickler to Kaitlyn Bristowe because they are similar in a lot of ways. I mean, they look kind of similar. They have the same aura about them, I would say. They have the same energy. You know, they're both, I swear to you, no, I need to look this up because I swear to you, they both have the same amount of Instagram followers. Because I was doing some research. I was like, who's more famous? I'll tell you why I was thinking this. Kat Stickler or Kaitlyn Bristowe. Kat has 1.9. Let's see. I'm pretty sure Kaitlyn has like literally the same amount. Kaitlyn, 1.9. Oh my God. Is that not the weirdest thing ever? It's kind of creepy. Anyhow, okay, I was thinking about who's more famous, Kaitlyn or Kat. I think it just depends on the audience. She's big on TikTok. You know, obviously, Kaitlyn is more the reality TV star. There is a certain amount of thirst, I feel, that is involved with people like Jason Tartick, Kaitlyn Bristowe, and Kat Stickler. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing because you have to be a little bit thirsty in order to succeed in the entertainment business, in the influencer business, in the social media business, the reality TV business. You got to be a little bit thirsty. You just do. Otherwise, you're going to get swept up in the wave of Bachelor Nation members that come along and post thirst traps every other day. It is what it is. But I feel like, you know, the podcast clip. Okay, the podcast clip comes out and they're very much so like googly eyes over each other. And I'm just thinking, like, you know for a fact that Jason put this podcast out so that people listen to the podcast. There's an ulterior motive, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And it benefits both of them because the more people talk about them, the more people listen to Jason's podcast, the more people buy Jason's book, the more people watch Kat's videos. You get paid per view on TikTok. So overall, the publicity of being with a public figure is good for the brand. How Kaitlyn feels about it, I'm not sure. I did see, I think it bothers her. I'm not going to lie. I think it bothers her. I did see, you know, Jason at one point posted this video where he was like shirtless, singing towards the camera or something. It was a choice. But I also saw Kaitlyn posted on her Instagram story not very long after, and people didn't really catch it, but I caught it because I was watching. And she was like, when someone shows up on your explore page and the post is the exact reason why you decided to unfollow them. And I was like, there you go. There you go. I mean, I think Jason and Kat are cute. Honestly, I don't know enough about Jason or Kat to be like, they're going to go the distance, but I think they're cute. We'll see. We'll be seeing them. I can guarantee that. All right, let's move on to this week's deep dive. Every single week on my Instagram at Morgan P Talks, I open up the deep dive to you. For the people, by the people, what is it that the people want to know about? I'm doing something a little bit different today because I was talking about how, the season of Summer House is getting ready to conclude and I'm just obsessed with it. And so I wanted to talk about Summer House in the deep dive, but I got a lot of different points that people wanted to talk about. So instead of just asking one person, what I did was a little hodgepodge of questions from you, and I'm going to answer each one directly. So the first comes from TD _ rise and grind. Rise and grind. I know that's not the song, but I just felt the need to do that. This is what they said. We need to discuss how awful and insecure Danielle is being on Summer House. Obviously, Danielle is a big player in the second half of the season. She was kind of MIA the whole first half of the season, but the Danielle moment between her and Gabby was wild. I'm kind of confused why other people are confused because she acted the same exact way on Winter House. If you watched Winter House, she was in a bit of a love triangle with Jordan from Summer House Martha's Vineyard and this below deck guy. And now she's kind of doing the same thing with Balloon Guy and Gabby. Also, I think people are surprised because we haven't seen a single Danielle in quite some time. It's been probably like 2 or 3 seasons that we saw Danielle in a long-term committed relationship with Robert. So we just didn't see this side of her. But I feel like if we remember, this is definitely a pattern that's repeating itself with Danielle. Think back to when Lindsay and Carl tried to date the first time years ago. What was that? I think it was had to be in season 4, season 5, maybe. She was weirdly competitive with Lindsay too about Carl. Remember, Lindsay and Carl were trying to date. Lindsay went out of town for one weekend and Danielle kissed him that weekend that she was gone or something. And this is supposed to be her best friend, just kind of odd behavior. And I feel like I want to give her the benefit of the doubt and say, I don't even feel like she realizes that she's doing it when she does it. I think it might be a subconscious thing. But when saying it's stupid that Gabby was crying about it, that's when you lose. That's when you lose the girlies right there. It's like, you've kind of been fighting off these accusations of not being a girl's girl. And then one of your closest friends is crying and you're like, that's stupid. It's just, I don't think there's any self-awareness because even if I'm putting myself in Danielle's shoes, even if I feel like I didn't do anything wrong and Gabby is crying for some other reason that has nothing to do with me, if my friend is crying and she says it's because of me, I'm running over to them immediately. And trying to squash the situation. But that's not what Danielle does. I also think, this is my theory about Danielle, I think that historically she has been in Lindsay's shadow. Because you see, Lindsay is this very over the top, in your face reality star. She's made for TV. And up until now, anytime that Danielle has been talked about, it's been in reference to Lindsay, right? Oh, they're best friends. We want to see them be best friends. Or, oh, I can't believe Danielle is doing this at Lindsay's engagement party. Or, oh, I can't believe Lindsay is treating Danielle like this, right? There's never really a time where Danielle has stood alone and had something be about her. Do you get what I'm saying? So I feel like almost, whether it was Winter House or the season of Summer House, that she's trying to step out of Lindsay's shadow. She's trying to step out of only being known as Lindsay's BFF. And that might be some of the stuff that we're getting now with, her with dating and with the arguments in the house with her and Paige. When she comes up to Paige and says that she gives Craig nothing, it's like, how would you know? Have you ever been around Craig? That's just my theory. Okay, let's move on to the next question. It's from M_Enverfirth. I'm sorry. I know I butchered that one, but it says the cringe Old Navy placement in Summer House. I want to talk about this scene in general because we knew they all weren't shopping at Old Navy, right? Which, no shade. I love Old Navy. Their workout sets, chef's kiss. But Paige, in Old Navy with one silk shirt in her hand, that they're not buying anything at Old Navy. Although that jacket that Amanda put on was pretty cool. I wanted to see if they had it. Anyways, it's like I think back to the paid partnerships that used to be on Survivor, like when Outback would sponsor the reward where they're like getting ready to roll a boulder up Mount Everest. And they're like, if you win, you get a bloomin' onion from Outback Steakhouse. And everyone's like, woo, that's what it was giving. And yes, it was a paid advertisement because Old Navy was in the closing credits and they also posted something online. But I feel like the conversation at Old Navy was a great moment. Amanda just seems also stuck in a shadow, stuck in Kyle's shadow. And Sierra and Paige bring this up to her. And if this would have been anybody else, it would have been a negative, but because it's her two best friends, I think it's seen as a positive because your friend should be able to speak truth to you and you take a moment, reflect, and you can agree or disagree, but you hear them out. And I think Amanda totally did that. I watched the after show and she was like, yeah, I agree with them. They're right. Like, I need to get out of Kyle's shadow. I need something else besides Loverboy. I need an identity outside of this. And in watching the after show, I saw her say earlier in the Summer House seasons, obviously she was there with Kyle when they weren't even officially dating, but she didn't really want to be like put out there. So she just kind of stayed quiet. And she feels like that has kind of followed her all the way through her Summer House journey where because she doesn't like speak up, people only see her as Kyle's wife. But I totally agree with Sierra and Paige's, it's not an assessment. Amanda is so freaking cool. Amanda Batula, like I think her style is just so effortlessly cool. She's always been my style icon because I'm not like super girly like Paige, with the bows and the flowers and whatever, but I love Amanda's style. So I agree where I'm with Paige. We're like, Amanda, you could be like a creative director and people would love your opinion on stuff. And she talks about doing a swimsuit line. If Amanda started a brand, any brand that was clothing, I would be there. I would be a customer. I would be on the wait list. I would be joining the newsletter. I would be doing all of the things because I agree. I think she's super cool. She's obviously very talented. I mean, she was a creative director for Loverboy, and I love the Loverboy merch. So I said this on the Patreon. I'll say it here because I'm just being honest. I think with Amanda, the biggest question mark around doing something on her own would be her drive. And that's something that she's talked about, feeling overwhelmed and then procrastinating and then whatever. I think it might be different because if it's hers and it's her baby and something that she really cares about that has her name on it, maybe she'll treat it differently than she does Loverboy. But just playing devil's advocate. Okay, let's move on. Deb Proti said how Carl spent this entire season making himself the victim and Lindsay the bad. This is interesting. So as this season plays out, let me start by this. First and foremost, in a breakup, I don't believe that anybody is ever 100% right and the other person is 100% wrong. Unless there's like a cheating situation. But there's still layers to even that. But as the season plays out, I do think that deep down, Carl knew he didn't want to marry Lindsay. He just didn't know how to end the engagement. Thinking back to the conversation about what he wants to do with his life, wanting to go back to Loverboy, him being apprehensive about bringing it up to Lindsay, just based on the way that Lindsay has handled tough conversations in the past, I don't necessarily blame him for that. However, I thought it was a little odd that he says, I'm apprehensive about bringing this up to Lindsay. I don't know how she's going to react, and then brings it up to her after she had been drinking all day at the alien party or whatever it was. Like, if you're apprehensive, why bring it up? Because the alcohol seems to be a contributing factor to their fight. So I just found that to be odd. I don't know. I'll let you make your own assumption on that. But I think Lindsay was also direct in that conversation. Was she a little bit harsh? Yeah, but she typically is. She is very direct, but I think she got her point across without being activated, without having this blow up moment. When it comes to Carl and Lindsay, I think that Carl is really passive and sensitive, and I think Lindsay is really direct and blunt. And I just feel like we're seeing that communication style not work out for them at all. The conversation with Carl's parents, I get it. Like, it's your parents. You will always turn to your parents for support in a time of need and guidance if you have that relationship with them. The issue for me isn't the fact that he talked to his parents. Of course, he's going to talk to his parents. It's the pre-planning of that conversation that makes it calculated, because it has to be. They're filming a reality TV show, but production isn't going to drive up to New Jersey to see Sharon and Lou without knowing the context of what they're going to be talking about, what they're going to be filming. So it's great TV. Don't get me wrong. I was like, could not keep my eyes off the television screen. But if I'm Lindsay, at this point, you're talking to Kyle about it, you're talking to your parents about it. You had to have had a conversation with production about it to some extent. So I'm not going to be thrilled about that if I'm Lindsay. And, she wrote this comment about it. He should go into gardening, insinuating that he has been planting seeds. And I think you could interpret it that way if you're Lindsay. I think you can also interpret it as Carl is a human and this is a major life decision. And when you're going through something that the emotions are high, the stakes are high, you 100% are going to turn to your friends and family. You are going to talk to your best friend about it, Kyle, even though are they best friends? I mean, Kyle was a flower boy. So I don't know if you could call them best friends. But yeah, it's just interesting. I think the whole thing is so muddy. I think the whole thing is muddy. And that's why I don't feel the need to do like a team Carl or team Lindsay, because I think they both contributed in a way to the relationship not working out. But at the end of the day, I also think that they're both better suited in different relationships. So let's move on to the last one. This is Anne Marie 034. And it says, Lindsay blaming Carl's parents on Watch What Happens Live and taking no responsibility. So I watched that Watch What Happens Live. She's referring to the one with her and Gabby. And I didn't get the sense that she blamed Carl's parents. From what I remember, she said that she understands they're his parents and that's what parents do. But I do think that Lindsay could do a better job of taking accountability for her mishaps in the relationship, especially the ones that we've seen. Not publicly saying sorry for accusing Carl of not being sober is a big miss for me. I'm really hoping that we get that at the reunion that's filming this week. I don't know if we will, but I feel like that is a missed opportunity for Lindsay to kind of look inward and say, even if I thought that for a second, it's not right to say that on national television. So I'm sad that this season of Summer House is like coming to an end. It's been so good. And I also think where we started last year to where we are now just gives me hope for the franchise, because we were all getting a little Summer House fatigue, saying things like, they're pushing 40 and they're going to start having kids. And are they really still going out to the share house and partying, whatever? It's working this season. So I don't want it to end. Okay, last but certainly not least, I want to do a Rachel Leviss update. There's been a lot of headlines this week about Rachel, her lawsuit, Tom and Ariana's responses. She apparently has a new boyfriend, so let's get into it. In case you missed it, how could you miss it? Rachel is suing Tom and Ariana for eavesdropping, revenge porn, invasion of privacy, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. So Tom and Ariana have both responded separately, but Rachel claims that Ariana had obtained and distributed at least 2 sexually explicit videos of Leviss without her knowledge or consent, and claimed in her February complaint that her co-star had informed the Vanderpump cast and production team about the videos. So this is what Ariana's lawyer said in response. Well, this is what Ariana said, and this was filed in the legal documents. I did not send these videos to anyone else, nor did I share, display, or show the videos to anyone else. To be clear, I only saw the video of plaintiff. It says masturbating, so I'm just going to say it, okay? Cover the little ears. In places secluded from others. Maddox said in her declaration that she was locked in a bathroom stall when she saw the FaceTime videos of Raquel on Sandoval's phone. She says, I hurriedly took out my own phone and made 2 recordings of the FaceTime video. She said she confronted Sandoval later about the videos in an alley near the West Hollywood venue where his cover band was performing, and that Tom forcibly grabbed her phone from her hands, deleted the videos. And let's see, it says, however, before he deleted the videos, Maddox shared them with Leviss with the text reading, "You're dead to me." So Rachel's lawyer is saying Ariana distributed these videos to multiple people. Ariana is saying, I did screen record the video. I sent it to myself and back to Rachel. So Rachel's lawyer is like, this is laughable. We have proof that Ariana sent this. So I'm wondering if this is the proof that the lawyer is referring to. And I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, but is it different if Ariana sends it to Rachel or other people? Do you get what I'm saying? So I feel like there's a little bit of semantics going on, a little bit of word manipulation for each of them to have their narrative fit. But Tom also responded and said, Leviss's lawsuit is a thinly veiled attempt to extend her fame and to rebrand herself as the victim instead of the other woman, while denigrating her former friend Maddox as a scorned woman and her former paramour Sandoval as predatory. That's a crazy statement. Like, that statement is wild. Oh, wow. I don't even know what to say about it. I think it's hard because in any legal situation, you have to be very careful with what you say. However, at the end of the day, what Tom did was illegal. Recording her without her consent is illegal. And so he has nobody to blame for that besides himself. I feel like, and it's one of those things where I've heard Rachel say this on her podcast and in articles where she doesn't come out and say that she didn't want to sue Ariana, but she says things like, if I sued Sandoval, I also have to sue Ariana, which I don't know if that's true or not. Like I said, not a lawyer, but it's crazy. I just feel like also Rachel, bless her heart, is very impressionable. And it's like whoever is around her telling her what to do, that's what she does. Whether it's Bethany Frankel or her parents or a lawyer or whatever. But Ariana asked that the case be dismissed. We'll see if that happens. But meanwhile, she's got a new man, not Ariana, Rachel. His name is Matthew Dunn. And the internet sleuths were all over it. So he first shared a group photo. Rachel was in it. And they were like went hiking or something, and she commented, what an incredible experience. And then he commented back, so much fun, with the kissing emoji. And then he changed his Facebook profile picture of him and her looking very coupley. Rachel was in this like pretty pink sequin dress. He had his arm around her waist, and it's like, dude, both of his accounts have now been deleted. I'm like, bro, what, Matthew, Mr. Dunn, what did you expect? Like, if you expected to not have Bravo fans on your tail, bro, you are in for a rude awakening, my dude. Buckle up, my dude. It's best that you just deleted it now because we're crazy. We're insane people. And you should know that about us. So I don't know. I mean, if she's dating somebody else, I'm happy for her. I feel like, she deserves to live, laugh, love if that's what she wants to do. I pray for Matthew Dunn that he's ready for all this, because with the lawsuit, it's not going away anytime soon. I'm really wondering, like, once this season of Vanderpump Rules is over, what Rachel Goes Rogue will be about. Maybe we will meet Matthew Dunn on it. I don't know. All right. Thanks again for hanging out for another episode of MPT in the book. Super excited for next week's episode. Like I said, it's going to be something a little different. Things are going to sound different. Things are going to look different. It's going to be really exciting. In the meantime, make sure you're subscribed to the Patreon. The Patreon is Morgan's Pop Talks. You can watch on Patreon or you can listen on the Spotify app. So if you're interested in more Bachelor, more Bravo, Survivor, celebrity and pop culture, we talked about Justin Bieber, what's going on with him. There's allegedly this documentary coming out about P. Diddy. Justin Bieber may or may not be mentioned in the documentary. You can check that out. They'll love you like assist here. You get everything on the Patreon for just $10 a month. Merch is coming soon. You'll get discount codes if you're signed up to that tier as well. So have a fantastic rest of your week. And as always, love you like a sis.